I spoke to Steve Jaros. That was the ending for Saints Row 1. It clearly led the players to believe that Julius, walking away from the scene of the crime, looking at his watch, planted the bomb. But that wasn't how it was supposed to go originally.
I can tell you how it happened.
You know how it happened?
I know exactly how it happened.
I never was aware until Steve told me this on SR2. It's like egregious error.
So yeah, on Saints Row,
Huge.
So Saints Row 1 ends with this. It was supposed to be this cliffhanger ending of the bomb blows up and the players call it this explosion, and everyone to find who set the bomb, who set the bomb. And I remember I finally watched the cutscene when I came back. I was always excited to see what does this cutscene look like, and I watched the ending cinematic of the game, and it's like everyone is like cutting away to this boat, and you're kind of people like looking at classifying who's who could be the person, who could be the person, and then there's this one shot where it's Julius standing looking at his watch and looking at the boat like what the fuck is this? Like, I'm like oh my god, like what happened? And be like, what do you mean? Like in the script it says that he's running down an alleyway, broken and bloody, like he just escaped capture and he's running for his life. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, he's supposed to be like scared. Like what happened? And so but then they changed it in the final cinematic. It's just him like, yep, blow that shit up. And so like, oh man, I guess Julius is guilty. And what ended up happening was in the mocap shoot. They had the animatic, it was in T-pose, and Julius was in T-pose, and they had him sliding down a road. And so the guys at the shoot were like, well, fuck, dude, we don't want to go and have to capture, we don't want to capture this guy, like, running. What's the pain in the ass? It was him standing there looking at his watch, instead in T-pose. And so they did that, and it totally changed the whole franchise. We're like, oh, holy fuck.
This single action changed the course of the Saints Row series for good. So when this information was released, there was one question on everybody's mind. Well, if you didn't plan for Julius to plant the bomb, who was the person that planted the bomb? Who did you have in mind originally? This has been a question that has been asked for over a decade now. Steve Jaros on Twitter over the years hasn't exactly given a concrete answer, and unfortunately, I don't exactly have a concrete answer for you today in the sense of a name. I in fact have something far more valuable. I asked Steve Jaros one question. Who did you originally have in mind to plant the bomb in Saints Row? This is what he replied. The bomb question is a long and complicated one that I sadly don't have the time to type out, but the short version is that I didn't have a definitive answer in mind. It was just an idea for a fun mystery that we could explore in a sequel. The pitch was that Saints Row 2 would be who did it, and then Saints Row 3 would be a revenge tour to catch the person responsible. However, this became a moot point for two reasons. The first was that the early dev team for Saints Row 2 didn't want to continue the story originally, and so they had a totally different plan. They started working on Saints Row 2 before Saints Row 1 was even out the door. And due to the production issue, it became apparent that Julius set the bomb. Now for anyone who is confused as to why this is important, this has been one of the biggest Saints Row mysteries of all time, and this is probably as close as we're ever going to get to a real answer. So the original ending of Saints Row 1 was supposed to be as confusing as it originally appeared. All these different shots to these different characters, it was supposed to leave the player questioning who did it. He planned for Saints Row 2 to be the mystery, us going and finding out who did it, and then for Saints Row 3 to be us catching that person. Imagine that turn of events. If in Saints Row 2, the entire game's plot revolved around us trying to find the person who wronged us all those years ago, and in Saints Row 3, we finally catch that person and earn us some justice. That sounds like a pretty legendary ending to me. I find this very interesting. It's clear that Steve really did have a very different idea for what Saints Row was supposed to be than the rest of Volition at the time. Maybe if the early dev team for Saints Row 2 did continue this story, we'd be in a completely different situation. I think elements of this did come back in Saints Row 2, especially in form of the Dex DLC. I feel like instead of us chasing down the person who did it, we ended up chasing Dex. So I would say that we did get a large element of that in our story. This was very clearly a plot that Jaros himself very much enjoyed and wanted to get done, and twice, sadly, it never really came to fruition, both with the original idea he had here and with the Dex drama. But I think this is probably as close to closure on the mystery as we're ever going to get. So the answer to who planted the bomb in Saints Row 1 originally was undetermined at the time. They had no clue. They were still working on it. But the original plan was for that person to be the main villain of Saints Row 2 and 3. We were going to be chasing them down. I find that pretty interesting. Thanks for watching.